Quickly what we did yesterday and what we've been doing for the last few days. Today we're talking about writing equations from a graph and a table. Basically, the phrase multiple representations means can you identify pieces of key information from different things. Y'all have already shown that you can do that from a graph, from an equation, but can you find it from a graph and a table? So, looking at this, we're recalling, it says find the slope on the graph. Looking at graph A, in one word, how would you describe this slope? Positive, because we read graphs from which direction? Left to right. So put your pen on that leftmost arrow and go from left to right. What is that bottom arrow doing? This top one right here. Going up. That means my slope has to be positive. So, looking at this, what point should I look for first to see if it's a lattice point? The y-intercept. What's my y-intercept for this line? 0, negative 1. Is it a lattice point? Meaning, does it fall on a crosshair perfectly? Yes. So, I can find a point to the right of it. Yes, that's also a lattice point. Do you see one?
1.
You say what you said?
1.
1. Not 1, 2, because if I go right 1, up 2, is my line there? 1, 1. There we go. You're okay. Focusing up here. Y'all are doing great. So if I'm starting at my leftmost point right here, where do I need to go? Up. How far? 2, because it's 1, 2. So what kind of 2 is that? A positive 2. And then where do I need to go? Right. How far? 1. So that's a what kind of 1?
Positive 1.
So writing my slope, it's m equals what?
2 over 1.
Can that simplify? If you're not sure, should we type this in the calculator? Yes. That means, gentlemen in the back, you're also still typing in.
Yes.
Yeah, you need a calculator. No, you can come grab yours. Using your legs is what's going to keep you awake. Yes, that's why you're standing up to begin with. So, let's think. So, can that simplify?
Yes.
Into what?
2.
So my slope should just be 2. Remember, slope is your m. So if you're wondering where the m equals went, it's right there. They just wrote out the word slope. Add that in so you know that they are the same. Write that in so you know that they are the same. Any questions? Stevan, focus up here, honey. You bored? Are you bored?
No.
Okay, then make sure you're writing this stuff down. That way you don't mess up on the next bell work, yes? I love you, that's why I call you out.
She called me out too.
I call out the people I care about, which means everybody in here has got called out more than once, right? Respectfully. So, I wouldn't do it if I didn't care. Any questions on A? B, how would you describe this slope in one word? Negative. Because from left to right, put your pen on the leftmost arrow and follow it all the way to the rightmost arrow. What is it doing? Going down. So that makes this a negative slope. So I know I need to write a negative over here to begin with. So I need to check which point to see if it's a lattice point. The y-intercept. What's my y-intercept for this one? 0, negative 1 yet again. Is there a lattice point to the right of this point?
No.
Yes. At what coordinate? Flip that around. Because if I do negative 3, 1, I'd go here and up 1.
No. 1 and negative 3.
1, negative 3. There we go. Remember, x goes first. Everybody good?
Yes, ma'am.
The numbers weren't wrong. Their order was. Any questions? Perfect. So starting at our leftmost point right here, where do I need to go?
Right.
Down 2. So that makes it a what kind of 2?
Negative.
And then?
Go right 1.
So that makes it a positive 1. So how would I write this slope?
M equals negative 2 over 1.
Absolutely. Should I type this in to see if it simplifies?
Yes, ma'am.
Let's do that. What'd y'all get?
Negative 2.
And was I correct on my slope being negative?
Yes, ma'am.
Remember, that's where your m equals would go. If you're that person that's like Miss Lipsey, I prefer the m equals over writing slope. You're more than welcome to put m equals right above that. That way you know that they are the same. Any questions on this recall that we did? Everybody good? So, looking at this, it says now using the same graph, so I'm using A and A, so these go together. Let's write the entire equation. So, what was my y-intercept that you just found?
Y was
-1, right? So the ordered pair was 0, -1. Because that's the point right there, right? What's my B that you just found? What was the, sorry. This should be, oh, that's -1. Sorry. These are the same. The way that it's written is kind of crazy. These are the same. B is the variable for the y-intercept. So I know my slope. I know my y-intercept. What does my equation start with always? Y equals. What would come next? Y equals, what variable comes after that? M. What's M? 2, followed by X, and then what's my y-intercept? And that's the equation. Would you look at that? Oh, the y-intercept, baby. Y-intercept, where it crosses the y-axis. So let me put the y up here. That way it's obvious. Yeah, so there's our M, there's our B. These two are the same. They're just written differently. So that's the ordered pair. That's just the number. So that's what goes down there. Does that make sense? Hey, it's a good question to ask. I would rather you ask a million questions to get clarification than you not ask any and be lost. Okay? Focusing right here. What was my B? -1. What's the ordered pair for that?
0 or -1.
There we go. So my equation starts with y equals. What variable comes next?
-2.
Because that's,
M.
there we go, followed by,
X
then,
-1.
if y'all look down just a little bit further, there's the y equals mx plus b formula, right below there. So people are like, where are they pulling this from? It's right below it. It's right there. And if you're someone that still doesn't know what this formula is, write out to the side what the name is. This is slope-intercept form. And this is what you're going to be writing all of your answers in. Everybody good? Did I lose anyone?
A little bit.
How so? Where?
So it was just the same number for B.
Yes, honey, that's just the ordered pair. That's where you're pulling it from. This number comes from that piece. Make sense? There you go. Any questions there? All right, let's look at a few more examples down here. This is just from a graph, okay? So I need to find my B first. So where's my B for this graph?
4.
At 4. So let's put that. How would I then write the coordinate pair for that? 0,
And 4.
0, 4. Put your dot right there. That's my first lattice point. Is there a lattice point to the right of this point? Yes. So where's the coordinate for it? Think about x and then y. 3, 6, because you would have to go to the right by 3 and then up by 6. Does that make sense, Denver? There we go. So, starting from my leftmost point right there, where do I need to go? How far?
33.
Not quite. 2, because how does 4 become 6? You add 2. And then where do I go from there?
Right 3.
Right 3, because how does 0 become 3? You add 3. So, how would I write my M? 2 over 3. Should I check to see if that simplifies?
Yes.
Let's do that. Typing that into the calculator. 2 divided by 3. What'd y'all get?
2 over 3.
So that didn't change. We'll write that down next to slope. So do I have my M? Do I have my B? So I can write my equation, right?
Yes.
So what does it start with?
Y equals
Uh-huh.
2/3
Because that's m, right? Followed by x
plus 4.
plus 4, because that's my b. What do we think? How do we feel? We're feeling good? All right, let's look at this one, right? What do I need to identify first? B. Where's my y-intercept? At -5 right there. So how would I write that as an ordered pair?
0 and -5.
There we go. Is there a lattice point to the right?
Yes.
Yes. At what coordinate pair?
-5.
At 1, -6. Remember, it's x and then y. Does that make sense, Zai?
Oh,
You have to say right 1, down 6. That's the ordered pair, okay? So looking at my leftmost point, where do I need to go?
down 1
Down 1, and then?
to the right 1.
So if I went down 1, what kind of 1 is that?
Negative
If I went to the right 1, what kind of 1 is that?
positive
So how would I write my m here?
-1/1.
Should I check to see if that simplifies?
Yes.
Yes, type that in for me. What'd y'all get?
-1.
So that should go where slope is. So from here, I'll write it up here as well so you know where that it came from. So do I have my m? Do I have my b?
Yes.
So what's my equation?
Y equals -1x
Uh-huh.
minus 5.
-5. My 1 does not have to be there because do we know already that it's there?
Yes.
Yes. But if you need to write it in, you may, okay? I won't count off for that. Any questions? How we feeling? Even better? Okay, let's see if we can feel our best. All right? Hey, best comes after better. That's the win here. Looking at C, what do I need to find first? B, which is 3. How do I write it as an ordered pair?
0, 3.
Absolutely, 0, 3. Is there a lattice point to the right of that point? Where?
4.
1, 4, right? But also I heard someone say 2 what, Denver? 2, 2, 5. We see 2 lattice points. I'm going to do 2, 5 this time. Kylan, yours is the most direct one. So if you want to use that one, you can. But I'm going to do something different just so people can see that you should still get the same answer even if you don't choose the same lattice point. Everybody with me? So, starting at my leftmost lattice point, where do I need to go? Up 2. So, and to the right 2. If I go up 2, what kind of 2 is that? Positive. If I go to the right 2, what kind of 2 is that? So how would I write my m? 2 over 2. Should I check to see if that simplifies? Let's do that. So typing in 2 divided by 2. What did that get you?
1.
So my slope is perfect. Do I have my m?
Yes.
Do I have my b?
Yes.
So how would I write this equation?
Y equals x plus 3.
Absolutely. If you put your 1 there, you are okay. When we get to the test, eventually you'll take the 1 off, but we're just now learning this. So if you have to put the 1 there, put the 1 there. Any questions? Okay. Let's flip it on over. Let's look at some tables. Let's find the slope on these tables. This was a hit or miss lesson for some people, so this recall is important, okay? Our goal is to find delta x and delta y. What does delta mean? One word starts with C. What was it? If something doesn't stay the same, it changes. It's the change in x and the change in y. Does that make sense? So, what number do I actually have to start off with in order to start my delta x side? 1 and 1 and 0. Thank you. You don't start with your first number, you start with your second number, and then I do what between them? I subtract. So, what should be typed in first? 1 minus 0. If I'm typing it in, should you type in? Yes, because this is where a lot of people went wrong. I looked at a lot of people's notes from this last week, and I saw a lot of mistakes in the sense of my side was correct because I did it with you, but your independent side, you got lost. So please type this in along with us. What did you get? So it went up by how much? Because can you see that this is increasing from top to bottom? Yes, because 0 became what eventually? 4. So it had to be increasing. So if you don't have a plus sign over here, we need to put those. Does that make sense? What's my next group? 1 and 2, but what needs to be typed in first? 2 minus 1. Absolutely. And what did that get you? Plus 1. Do this all the way down. What should be my next group? 3 minus 2. Huh? 4 minus 3, because you would have to do that. Absolutely. So, how did 2 become 3? You did what? How did 2 become 3? You added 1. But notice how on your calculator the difference is 1. That's what you need to be able to understand and see. Does that make sense? And your last group was 4 minus 3, which got you 1. You should be able to take your number on the side and say, what's 0 plus 1? What's 1 plus 1? What's 2 plus 1? What's 3 plus 1? If you can't do that going down your list, that means you either put the wrong sign or you put it in the wrong order. Does that make sense? That's how you check it. I feel like that's where I failed you last week. I didn't explain that completely, and I apologize. Any questions there? Everybody good? Let's look at delta y. What's my first group? 7 minus 5. Typing that in. If your teacher can do it, you can do it. Make sure that you're typing it along with us. Prove your answer. What'd you get? So, what kind of 2? Plus 2. Because, is this increasing from top to bottom? Yes. So we need to make sure that we see that. What's my next group? 9 minus 7, absolutely. And that got you? What's my next group? 11 minus 9. Great save. And what did that get you? 2. And then?
13 minus 11.
And that gets you? 2. So, we write our fraction as what over what? Y over x, right? So, how would I write this? 2 over 1. We need to check to see if that simplifies, right? Does it? Into what? So that should be my final answer. Any questions there? Great job. How are we feeling? Good? Better understanding of where this is coming from? Again, I apologize. I hoped that I would do something different, and once I saw the notes, I really took some time to reflect, and I went back and watched the video, and I said, man, I could have talked about why this works a little bit better. So, do you see where the plus comes in? So, 5 plus 2 gets you 7. 7 plus 2 gets you 9. Everybody with me? Okay. Looking at B, we're still finding delta x and delta y. So, we see that this is exactly the same as this one, right?
Yeah.
So, we know these are all increasing by what? So, let's write that in. Notice your details every time. It saves you time and work on your test. Does that make sense? From there, this side definitely ain't the same. Is this increasing or decreasing? Decreasing. Because the bigger those negatives get, the farther from 0 they get. So it should be getting smaller. Does that make sense? So, looking at this, what's my first group I'm typing in? Negative 13 minus 9. You're typing this in. I'm typing in. You type in. What did that get you? Negative 22. From there, we keep going, right? What's my next group? Are we sure it's negative 22? It's negative 4. We were adding. We have to subtract, right? It's okay. We make these mistakes. That happens. You're okay. Did you type in negative 13 minus a negative 4? It has to be negative 13 minus negative 9. It froze a second. There we go. It should look like that. Don't drop your negatives, okay? So that's where the negative 4 came from. What's my next group? Negative 17 minus a negative 13. Typing this in, Jordan. Typing this in, Lizette. Typing this in, Ian. Please, please, please. You have a quiz on Thursday. You got to know how to do this. What do they get you? You can't say you don't know something if you don't even try it. What's the next group? Negative 21 minus negative 17. And if your teacher can do it while also teaching you, there's no excuse why you can't do just one half of that. What'd you get? And then what's my next group? Thank you. Negative 25 minus a negative 21. Typing it in, typing it in. Put it on top of the desk, baby. There you go. What'd you end up getting? So how would I write this? And I need to check to see if that simplifies, yes?
Yes.
So type that in. Don't drop your negative, okay? And what'd y'all get? Great job. Feeling better on the negatives? Remember, if you need to write this out, write this out. It's negative 13 minus a negative 9. That's where that came from. Write out what you need to be typing in if you're unsure of where it's coming from. And then that is negative 25 minus a negative 21. That's where all these came from, is from there. So if you need to write that in, write that in. Any questions there? Okay, now we have to actually do our X's here, yes? Because they don't look like the first two that we had. So what's the first group I need to do?
4 minus 2.
4 minus 2. Typing that in. 4 minus 2. What'd you get?
2.
So, what kind of 2?
Plus 2.
Because is this increasing or decreasing from top to bottom? Increasing. What's the next group? 4 plus 6. Well, 4 minus 6. 6 minus 4. Thank you. We got all a little tongue-tied there. It's okay. We figured it out. 6 minus 4. What does that get you? What kind of 2? Because we're still increasing, right? This is my delta x right here. I have to account for the space that I used. And then, what's my next group?
8 minus 6.
8 minus 6. Great save this time. Great, great, great. What'd you get?
Plus 2 again.
And then what's my last group?
8 minus 8.
And what does that get me? So I see my delta x side is completed. Delta y. What's my first group? 16 minus 10. That gets you plus 6. It's okay. We know it's her at this point. Good morning, Davis. You look beautiful in your orange. What's my next group? 22 minus 16. I'm trying to give those people time who are typing this in. What y'all get? What's my next group? 28 minus 22. That gets me. And then?
34 minus 28.
And what did that get you? Plus 6 again. So, looking here, how would I write this as my fraction? 6 over 2. Can we check to see if that simplifies? Let's do that, please, and thank you. What'd you get?
3.
So that should be my slope. Everybody okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Everybody good?
Yes, ma'am.
Do we feel more confident about the tables?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. So now let's find the equation from that table. Well, do we remember how to write a y-intercept as an ordered pair? What comes first?
Y.
X.
X, which is what? For it to be a y-intercept, it has to be, X must always be 0. And then B follows behind it. It said, why is 0 always first? Because, where do you find y-intercepts? On the what? Oh, it's on the y-axis. So, X will always equal 0. So that's where you find the y-intercept on the table, where X is 0. At that ordered pair. So using the tables above to find the y-intercept, then write your equations. So use tables above to find your y-intercept and then write your equation. So look at A. I'm going to try to zoom out as best I can. Let me fix that exposure a little bit. There we go. So we have it right here. Do we see a place where X is 0?
Yes.
Yes.
At what y value? 5. So that means that's my y-intercept. At 0, 5. So do I have my slope?
Yes.
Do I have my y-intercept?
Yes, ma'am.
So what would be my equation? What would come first?
Y equals
Y equals? What variable comes next?
2.
2, because it's in the place of m. Remember, if you don't know that, write your m up top. So 2 followed by,
X
and then plus 5. Absolutely. Any questions there? Is this making more sense? Yes, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Sir?
I said, how'd you get 5?
Look where I have circled, and look at where it says y-intercept. I'm teaching you how to do what?
Read.
Read. Are these two pieces that I have circled so you know that they match?
Okay.
So we have to know how to read them to understand where the pieces are coming from. Okay? Make sense? It's always going to be where x is equal to what? When x is always equal to? Thank you. Make sure that you are marking this and you're writing down these pieces that I'm putting. Any questions? From there, looking at table B, this one right here goes with this. Do I see where x is 0?
Yes.
What's y?
Next 9.
That's my y-intercept. At 0, -9. So do I have my m?
Yes.
Do I have my b? So how can I write this equation? What would it start with?
Y equals
Oh.
-4x minus 9.
Absolutely. Look how quick you're getting it. It's almost like I taught this. What a concept. Any questions there? So, looking at this up here. If we're looking at C, do we see 0 easily on this? No. But x must be what for it to be a y-intercept? 0. And what's the smallest x I have? 2, right? And we notice that this is increasing by 2. So can't I work backwards the same way I did on the tile patterns? So I'm not going to increase by 2. When I go backwards, I'm going to do what? Decrease by 2. What's 2 minus 2? There goes my 0. But what do I have to do to this 10?
Minus 6.
Minus 6. And that gets me,
4.
there's my extra part of my table. So my y-intercept's at 0, 4. Great job. Remember, that's from tile patterns. We ain't seen that since 4.1. That was a whole week ago. And it looks like you know how to do it just fine. So, any questions there? Do you have your y-intercept?
Yes.
Do you have your m? So, can we do this equation?
Yes.
How would I write it?
Y equals
3x plus 4.
Absolutely. Any questions there? If you need to know where this skill came from, it came from tile patterns. And that was 4.1. So if you missed that lesson, I hope you watched the video. Please do so. It was a pretty great lesson. Any questions there? Let's look at some extra examples at the bottom, shall we? So, they want us to write it in y equals mx plus b, but that's nothing new for us. We've been doing that this whole time. So, I need to find my delta x first, right? So, what's my first group? Okay, -1 minus a -2. The question here is this increasing or decreasing? Increasing. So should I have a plus or a minus over here? A plus. So what did you get when you said -1 minus a -2? +1. What's my next group? 0 minus -1. Thank you for not dropping your negative. Typing that in. Gets you 1 again. What's the next group? What's anything minus 0? That number, right? So what's going on the outside here? +1 again. What's my next group? And that gets you? Because this is all increasing by 1. Make sense? Delta y. What's my first group? 8 minus 10. That gets you? Because is this increasing or decreasing? That's decreasing, so which means we should have a negative next to that delta. Does that make sense? What's my next group? 6 minus 8. What does that get you? -2 yet again. Then 4 minus 6. What did that get you? And then my last group? 2 minus 4. And what did that get you? How would I write my slope? Can that simplify?
Yes.
Into?
-2.
Great job. Do I see my y-intercept? Where? 0, 6. Great job. So what's my equation?
Y equals -2x.
Absolutely. 10 out of 10. Any questions there? We feel good? Any questions? Okay. Looking at B. Starting with delta x, what's my first group?
-6.
Absolutely. So how am I typing it in?
-4 minus
-4 minus
-6.
a -6. What does that get you?
+2.
Because is this increasing or decreasing? Increasing from top to bottom on the x side. What's my next group? -2 minus a -4. Get that typed in for me, please, and thank you. What'd you get? What's my next group? 0 minus -2. What'd you get?
2.
Perfect. Last group. 2 minus 0. And that gets you what?
2.
Perfect. Any questions there? Guys, make sure you're typing along with us because you already know what's coming. You know what you're about to have to do. And there ain't no questions from me, Miss Davis, dear. No practice problem. No daily grade. Because this is a very thorough lesson. Delta y. What's my first group? 9 minus 0. And that gets you?
+9.
+9. Is this increasing or decreasing?
Increasing.
Increasing. What's my next group?
18 minus 9.
18 minus 9.
That's +9.
That gets you what?
9.
What's the next group?
27 minus 18.
27 minus 18. That gets you.
9.
Last group is
6 minus 27.
perfect. That gets you.
9.
These are all the same now. Once we start doing more progressive problems, these are going to change. So bear that in mind. These are all the same right now. They're going to change in the next week or so. Okay? So don't bank on these being the same after this week. Looking at this one, what do I need to do? You're telling me? Oh, wait. Sorry. What's my slope?
9/2.
I need to check to see if that simplifies. Yes?
Yes.
Typing that in, 9 divided by 2. Then we need a fraction. Did it change? So that would be our slope. It stays the same. Y-intercept. What am I looking for? 0.27, because x must always be 0. So what's my equation? Great job. Any questions there? Okay, looking at C. What's the first thing I need to do? 6 minus 4, because I'm finding that delta y. What's 6 minus 4? Is this increasing or decreasing? Increasing. What's my next group?
8 minus 6.
Which gets me?
2.
Then? Which gets me? And then? Which gets me? Great job. What's next? -1 minus -7. Great job. And that gets you? And then? And that gets you? And then what's my next group? That gets you? And then? And that gets you? So how would I write my slope out? Can that simplify? Into? So, do I see my y-intercept readily available on the table? No, So what do I need to do? 4 minus 2. And that gets you? That gets you 2, right? And then do minus 2 again, right? Because we need to get to 0. So what's 2 minus 2? So that's what I'm looking for. What do I need to do on this side? Not 6, but -7 minus 6. Type in -7 minus 6. What'd y'all get? But I'm not there yet, am I? So what do I need to do again? Minus 6 again, right? So -13 minus 6 yet again. Do I have my y-intercept now? And it's at where? So what's my equation? Any questions there? Any questions at all? Sir? Okay. So, any questions on this? You know what's up. You know what's about to happen. So, the questions I want you to do, please and thank you, is question number 1 and 2 for these. And then do question 11 on the tables. So it's 1, 2, 11. Going to get it started. I put a timer for 12 minutes, by the way. Yeah, we ain't just sitting. We working. So, if I'm looking at number 1 right here, I need to start where? On my y-axis, on my y-intercept, which is what? -5. How do I write that as an ordered pair? 0, -5. If you couldn't have gotten at least this piece, it's concerning in the sense of you do not know vocabulary. And we need to study it a little bit more. It's okay. I know. I saw what was missing. You're okay. I'm saying if you can't identify it, period, that's where I need you to see that's where your list of concern is, okay? Don't go too fast because who's rushing you on your test? Nobody. I give you the whole block for a reason. I want you to utilize all of that time, okay? For M, is there a right point that is a lattice point? No. So I need to find one over here. And that's where a lot of y'all messed up. You thought this was a lattice point, but if you look close, is that line perfectly hitting that crosshair? No, so I have to go over here to this coordinate point right there, which is -5, 1. You can. I told you the graph goes forever in both directions. It just worked out in our case for the ones that we were working that there was a right one every single time. But left is somewhere that you always can go if you cannot find anything to the right. The only difference is that this becomes your leftmost point now. So we have to work from that point first. Make sense? So where do I need to go from that point? What direction? Down, because isn't this slope negative? And then down how far? 6. So that makes it a -6. And then where do I need to go? Right, how far? 5. So that makes it what kind of 5? So how would I write the slope? -6/5. Believe it or not, there was more than 2 people that was grasping what was happening here, and I could see their slope triangles. It doesn't mean that you're a bad person if you didn't get it, okay? It was just me seeing if you knew how to interpret the slope. That's testing a DOK of 3 and 4, okay? Y'all are out of DOK 2, and that's great. That means you could recall it back to me pretty easily, okay? So, how can this simplify any further?
No.
Then the slope would just remain -6/5. So how would I write my equation? Any questions here?
Snack card.
Anybody want anything from snack card? Denver, you're good. Go on and go. Looking at number 2. You're good, Stephon. Go on and go. Y'all quickly go. Go. What do I need to look for first on number 2? The y-axis for the y-intercept, which is what? 4. So how would I write that as an ordered pair? 0, 4. So again, is there anything to the right of this that I can use? So I have to go in which direction? The left. Do I see an ordered pair that works here? What ordered pair is that? Thank you, Queen. What ordered pair is that? -5, 0. So I need to start with this leftmost point right here. Where do I need to go? What direction first? Because I'm dealing with slope. So where do I need to go to get to this point? First, go up. How far? 4. So that makes it a +4. And then, what direction? To the right. How far? So that makes it a +5. So how do I write my slope here? 4/5 because it's still rise over run. Should I check to see if that simplifies?
Yes.
Do that quickly. 4 divided by 5. Math 1 enter if necessary. Did it change? So my slope should remain 4/5. So what's my equation? Absolutely. And that should have been the answers there. Any questions? Quickly look at number 5. I want to talk about this one. What's special about this one? It's a what kind of line? Horizontal. So what's the M always going to be?
0.
0. What's my y-intercept?
4.
How do I write that as an ordered pair?
0 and 4.
What's my slope again?
0.
What's the equation here?
And a pleasant good morning to you, Kiki.
Y equals what?
Now stand for the pledge.
4.
Just 4.
Salute.
Because there's no X,
Pledge.
remember?
I pledge allegiance to the
Any
flag
questions?
of the United States of America.
He's okay.
And to the
Pause just a
republic
second.
for which it stands, one nation,
Look at
under
7.
God, indivisible, with liberty and
Bye. Looking up here, Look at 7. What's special about this? What?
Vertical.
It's vertical, which means it's special just like how the other one is. What's the slope? Nope. Because does that look like that? What's that other word I told you? The slope is, starts with a U. Undefined. Not unidentified. We're not talking about bodies. We're talking about lines. Undefined. Is there a y-intercept? Because where do we have to find the y-intercept? On the y-axis. Is there anything touching this?
No.
So is there one?
No.
Then that's not applicable. That's not applicable. And my slope should still be undefined. So what would this equation be? Do you remember what it starts with? Nope. Nope. Nope.
Undefined.
Nope. Nope. You have notes on this from Monday. Find it. What does the equation start with? And don't answer it without looking at those notes. I'm sick and tired of it. Put it respectfully. You can't say the slope is how you start the equation. How ridiculous. You're looking for vertical lines. How are their equations written? You're not even looking at the right notes, honey child. X equals.
Me?
Yep, you ain't looking at the right ones.
It's a 4.5.
Baby, you ain't even looking at the right side, honey.
Example 2.
Example 2. What would this be? X equals. X equals. Look at those same notes.
I'm turning in today.
X equals. What would this X equal? 4, because will it ever be anything else? Where's the line hitting?
4.
So X will always equal,
4.
just like this one hit at what?
4.
So Y will always equal.
4.
Duh, children.
That's smart stuff.
Any questions? As it pertains to this one on the back, we'll quickly get through it. How is the left side changing? +1. How is the right side changing? Because that's increasing, yes? And that's also increasing. How would I write my slope? Can that simplify into, what's my y-intercept?
0.
Because what must X always be?
0.
So what's my equation?
Y equals 3x minus 16.
There's no reason for you to miss a question like that. Any questions? You know what to do. Finish your practices. Oh, hang on real quick. Look at one more for me.
Oh, I think you need to do that right at 18.
What do you notice is happening on the right side of number 17? What's staying the same? Y. So that delta Y would be what? 0. It would never change. So my slope would end up being 0 over whatever this is changing by. What is 0 minus a negative 10?
0.
0 minus a negative 10. Stop assuming. Do you have a calculator? Type it in for me. 10. So that side's increasing by 10. That side's increasing by 0. So my slope would be 0 over 10. Type that in the calculator.
0 over
Which gets you?
0.
Isn't that a horizontal line?
Yes.
Where's the y-intercept? Where's the y-intercept? 0, 9. But we knew that already, did we not?
Yeah.
So how do I write this as an equation?
Y equals 0.
No.
X
No.
equals 9.
Equals 9. Duh. I'm going to keep saying duh because isn't that already been taught? Yeah. Look at 18.
Yeah, that's that hard.
No, it's not.
It's the same thing.
Exactly. It's the same thing flipped. So what's delta x in this case? Was it? 0. What's delta y in this case?
Plus 10.
Plus 10. So how would I set this up?
10 over 0.
10 over 0. That gets us what? Type it in. Stop assuming.
0.
Stop assuming.
10.
No, stop assuming.
Can't do it.
Error, which is what?
Undefined.
Undefined.
That was 10.
You thought it was 10 because you were ignorant enough to not use your calculator. Stop being stupid. Love you so much. Don't do that. Assuming makes you those first 3 letters. Cut it out. Is there any y-intercept here? No. What's the equation for this?
Y equals 0.
No.
Undefined.
No. X.
X equal,
9. Because what is x always going to be?
9.
Duh.
Oh, like
You need to start studying because those are the easiest ones. If you don't like the ones that are easy, you're not reading. You choose to be ignorant. Love you so much. Do your practices. Turn it in.